San Francisco, where the defending champion Giants still haven't won a home game this year. This Diamondbacks versus Giants series sponsorship is presented by Chevrolet. A wild ball game here last night, 7-6 in 12 innings. And tonight, a chance for the boys in Sedona Red to make it 2 straight over the Giants and get over 500 on this road trip. It's D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from AT&T Park. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. It's game 2 of 4, the D-backs and the Giants here. We went 4 hours and 20 minutes last night. We went into the wee hours of the ball game, and Josh Colmenter was out there in the Diamondback bullpen warming up. And Bob, now he'll start game 2.
All we needed last night was the fog pouring over the roof. That was about the only thing we missed in the ball game last night. You can see what Josh has done through his first couple of starts this season. The first one against the Giants at home, not so good. Against the Dodgers last time, keep in mind, he had one inning, he gave up 4 base hits. Not one of the balls was hit hard. He could use a little luck tonight, get some of those Giants bats hitting the ball at his defenders.
Josh Colmenter starts for the D-backs, and the veteran Jake Peavy for the Giants tonight. One of the reasons that Josh was warming up late last night was because they ran through every relief pitcher they had.
All 7 relievers got in the ball game last night, pitched just shy of 6 innings in that ball game. Don't be fooled by the 4 walks. There was a lot of strategery involved late in the game. There were some pitch arounds, some walks that you didn't mind late in that ball game, but everybody got involved in the game. I think everybody should be in good shape tonight, with perhaps the possible exception Randall Delgado.
5 1/3 by Diamondbacks relievers. 7 pitched to the ball game last night, so hopefully Josh Colmenter can give Chip Hale some innings tonight. When we come back, Jody Jackson with Tuffy Gozowicz, who was back there for all 12 innings and did a tremendous job blocking those balls in the dirt. But how did he do it? We'll go D-back to basics when we return on Fox Sports Arizona. Arizona is brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich.
And welcome back to San Francisco. San Francisco Giants struggling right now. They'll take on the Arizona Diamondbacks, who won Game 1 last night in 12 innings. Jody Jackson with you. And if there was an unsung hero in last night's game, it might just be catcher Tuffy Gozwich. D-backs quality control coach Mike Fetters told me that he blocked 16 balls last night, and a number of them were in extra innings. Andrew Chafin, in fact, throwing 5 straight in the dirt at one point. And as Evan Marshall said, any of those get by him, that is the game. Well, the D-backs battled back, and Tuffy always battles behind the dish. It's time for D-back to basics. How does he do it? Tuffy Gozwich with Glenn Sherlock.
So we're going to talk a little bit about blocking, and Tuffy's in a block throw stance. This is a stance that he would use with a runner on base, 2 strikes, or anytime you need to make a block or make a throw. So to go to a blocking position, Tuffy's going to aggressively move his body down into a blocking position with his glove and get into this position right here. You can see he's made himself very big and very wide. He's got great flexibility here. He's got the 5-hole covered up. He's nice and square to the ball. He's got his glove right here covering up, and he's got his hand behind his glove where he's protected. And he's got his forearms on the sides, which has even increased his blocking surface, so he's made himself even bigger. One of the key things in blocking is to anticipate the ball in the dirt. So to do that, anytime you call an off-speed pitch, you have to tell yourself, anticipate it being in the dirt, so you don't ever get surprised by the ball being in the dirt.
Posey's hung up, and they got him.
We start out with Tuffy in a blocking position, and we'll just do some one hops off his chest protector, and we'll really emphasize that glove getting into the right position, and then we'll go into a block throw stance, and you can see Tuffy's moving into the ball a little bit. He's gaining a little bit of ground. He's aggressive on his blocks, and he's trying to control that ball off his chest protector. Now, as far as recovering, after the catcher blocks the ball, his job is not done. He's going to recover, and he's going to get himself ready to throw to the advancing base. Out of way, Tuff.
Tuffy Gozwich, the Horizon High product, also went to Arizona State University as the starter this season for the Arizona Diamondbacks, doing a great job. It's one thing, of course, to do those drills in the pen. It's another to do them here in San Francisco in the 10th with the bases loaded with people cheering for the opposing team. Offense was on fire last night. 3 home runs for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's pretty rare in this ballpark. Steve and Bob have more coming up.
In part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, greatness in, greatness out, now available at your local Fry's.
Well, Brentley, if you don't shape up, I'll make a call and we'll have you on the rock. Have a reservation for Mr. Brentley.
Josh Colmenter on the mound for the Diamondbacks. That's where he ended the ball game actually last night after 4 hours and 20 minutes warming up with the bullpen. A wild night here, mostly generated by the Diamondback offense, Bob, and what a night it was. 3 homers, their most in a game here since September of '09.
Well, last night is why we come to the ballpark every day. You never know what you're going to see. The Diamondbacks were supposed to be a power challenge team playing in a ballpark that rarely gives up a lot of home runs, and they hit 3 bombs in the game last night. Now, judging from the conditions here early this evening, I don't think we're going to see a lot of home runs tonight. Ball is not carrying. It's a lot colder tonight than it was last night. Should figure to be a pitcher's night.
It is chilly Friday night here by the Bay, so a pitcher's duel perhaps. Josh Colmenter looking for his first win. The veteran Jake Peavy on the mound, his second start this year for the Giants. First pitch is next right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Cisco, Steve Berthune, Bob Brentley, and Jody Jackson with you. Diamondbacks and Giants set for the second of this 4-game weekend series, and the Giants have yet to win a home game this year. They've lost 7 straight. They are 3-8 on the season. 8 losses, the most of the major leagues. And trying to get that turned around, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for San Francisco. Second start this year for the 33-year-old right-hander, the veteran Jake Peavy, his 14th big league season.
3-time All-Star, Cy Young winner in the National League back in '07 for the Padres. He is basically a fastball pitcher at this stage of his career, either the 2-seam sinker or the cut fastball. Also has a curve and a changeup that he'll mix in from time to time, but you're going to see a lot of fastballs sinking down and into the righties, cutting away from the righties.
You saw the numbers on his first start. That was Sunday at San Diego. It did not go well for Peavy. 4 runs, 4 hits. He lasted just 4 innings. 3 walks and 5 strikeouts. He was supposed to pitch against the Diamondbacks in the second game of the year at Chase Field last week, but back problems scratched him from that start. Ryan Vogelsong got the ball instead in what turned out to be a 7-6 D-backs win.
And if you've never seen Jake Peavy pitch before, you will not have to guess what he's feeling out there on the mound. He will definitely let you know.
The emotions on the sleeve. Ender Inciarte in the left-hand batter's box, and he looks at ball 1. Chris Siegel, our plate umpire, and we are underway. This is the lineup for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks.
Ender Inciarte at the top playing right field. A.J. Pollock in center field with Paul Goldschmidt at first base. David Peralta out in left field. You can see what Jake Lamb has done over his last 5 ball games. Red hot.
Ender lifts that in the air to the left field corner. Aoki broke in, now drifts back, and he's got it for out number 1. A look at the Giants around their veteran right-hander, our mid-first bank starting defense.
Very few changes in this lineup for Bruce Bochy all season long. Aoki, Pagan, and Blanco left to right across the outfield. Casey McGee back in the lineup at third base with Brandon Crawford and Joe Panik making up the double play combo. Brandon Belt at first. Buster Posey doing the catching for the veteran Jake Peavy.
A.J. Pollock. And after missing about a week or so with a left knee strain, Casey McGee, who we saw in a pinch hitting role last night, is back in the starting lineup at third. A.J. batting .265 to start the year. The on-base percentage just under .360. And 2 for 6 in 12-inning win here last night. A pair of big hits, a 2-out double in the 5th and that 2-out home run in the 10th. He scored twice. The home run, his first career home run in this ballpark. Well, did not go Lance Barrett down there.
It was measured perfectly. It's .339 right down that left field line. He hit it about .339 and 6 inches. Just snuck it over the fence off the inside of the foul pole.
First extra inning home run of A.J.'s career. He's behind a ball and 2 strikes. And Chip Hale said Ender Inciarte is going to be in there most every day now. The way he's played, he's forced his way into the lineup, and Chip is feeling good about Inciarte leading off and A.J. Pollock batting second in the order. So we may see that here for a while. Chip said he thinks Pollock in the 2-hole is dynamic. He's got a little more power. Ender's done a good job of getting on base at this point so far, so Chip says he will go with it for a little bit and see how it goes.
And not to mention the speed that gives you in those top 2 slots in the lineup in front of Goldie and Peralta and Lamb and Trumbo, depending on who's in the lineup on a given night.
This was A.J. Pollock last night. 2 outs in the 10th off Santiago Casilla.
Just snuck it over that fence.
The third home run in the ball game.
Counts the same as Goldie's and Trumbo's that went way up into the bleachers.
Peavy strikes out Pollock. Took something off there, 2 down. There's a cruise ship heading out. I'm concerned that the governor, Greg Schulte, BB, might be on that. He's the king of the cruise lines, and boy, that is I think it's huge, moving its way around the bay here.
That was pretty impressive earlier today during batting practice when it went behind center field, and I mean it just completely filled up our line of vision out there in right center.
It looks as big as that scoreboard in center field. 1-0 to Goldie. 324 to start the year and leading the major leagues with 12 RBIs at the start of play today. Paul Goldschmidt. And the OPS just over 1100. Goldie top 10 in the big leagues there as well. Does have a home run in his career off of Peavy. Crawford backhands it at short, and Peavy works a 1-2-3 inning. This was that big cruise ship earlier coming under the Bay Bridge and just sneaking under there. And we are cruising into game 2 of the 4-game set. We'll see you on the Lido deck after this. Starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks, 29-year-old right-hander Josh Collmenter, looking for his first victory of the season after winning a career-high 11 games last year. The ERA to begin the season is over 6.5. Josh has had a rough time of it so far. 19 hits allowed in just under 10 innings of work. He has yet to pitch past the 5th inning in a start this year.
I mentioned his last outing against the Dodgers. In that 4th inning, he gave up a run on 4 hits, left the bases loaded, but not one of the hits was struck off the good part of the bat. A couple of jam shots that dropped in, a couple of cue shots off the end of the bat that rolled through the infield. So a little better luck tonight would help.
There's a strike to Nori Aoki, just under 350 to start the year. Aoki has hit safely in all but one game this year. The on-base percentage is over .430. Reaches down and holds that one foul.
I have a moment. Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the ball game tonight. Up is okay. We mentioned the ball not carrying well here tonight. It's a very cold evening here on the Bay. Fly balls aren't going to go anywhere, so working up in the zone is okay. And upset the table setters. Aoki, Panik, and Pagana combined 8 for 9 against Josh in that start back at Chase Field.
That was opening day. Aoki, Panik, Pagan, 1, 2, 3, and they're back in there in that same order here tonight. Slow roller to third. Lamb is there. Throw almost pulls Goldie off the bag, but it's the first out. How about this? Top 3 in the order on opening day. 8 hits and 9 at bats against Collmenter through the first 5 innings.
Well, and that followed the pattern for Angel Pagan, who's 7 for 12 lifetime against Josh Collmenter. He, along with Buster Posey, are the 2 guys in this Giants lineup that have had the best success against Josh.
So something to watch for there. Get these top 3 hitters in the Giant order out. Josh should be in decent shape. Here's Panik. A quiet spring has carried over into a slow April for Joe Panik. He's at .225 for the year, but had a good night at the plate last night. Panik went into last night's series opener stuck in a 3 for 29. But then last night had 3 hits in 6 at bats, including that big 9th inning triple. The ball that just carried over Ender Inciarte's head in right center field. And he puts it in almost the same spot here, and again Ender Inciarte. This one is a little more gettable for Ender out there, and he tracks it down. He was really down, Ender, about that play after last night's ball game. He said he probably wouldn't sleep. They pay him to make that play. He said, I got to make that catch.
Well, AJ was shading over into the gap in left center, which really left Ender as the only guy that could possibly run that down. Just a slight adjustment at the very end of his route and couldn't quite get the glove on the ball.
I had a flashback on the ball that Panik just hit. Angel Pagan.
It's not the dog days yet.
Is it August already? Doesn't feel like August tonight, I'll tell you that.
Sure doesn't. Although in San Francisco, this is a good August day.
Pagan just over 370, 5 extra base hits through 11 games. The OPS just under 940. He has reached base safely in every game he started this year. Collmenter's ahead 0-2. Pagan 8 hits in his last 14 at bats in a 15-game hitting streak against the D-backs, during which he's batting better than .450. Well, he can't quite go 1-2-3 through that 3-headed monster. Pagan has a 2-out single. So now make it 16 straight against the D-backs. So look at Bruce Bochy's lineup for the Giants.
We've seen Aoki and Panik at the top, in left field and second base. Angel Pagan playing center field, just got the base hit up the middle. Buster Posey doing the catching. Casey McGee back in the lineup at third base with Brandon Belt at first base. Gregor Blanco in right field, Brandon Crawford at short, and right-hander Jake Peavy on the mound.
Buster Posey, a smidge over 240 through his first 11 games. He does have 2 home runs.
I mentioned Posey, a Giant with tremendous numbers against Josh Collmenter. 11 for 20 lifetime. That's a .550 average with 3 home runs.
And 9 RBIs against Josh. Posey just tortures Collmenter like no other pitcher in the major leagues. We showed you those numbers, the 11 for 20. That's Posey's highest batting average and home run total against any pitcher in baseball with at least 15 plate appearances. So Josh is his favorite pitcher to face. 0-1.
Good change up right here. I mean, Buster Posey knows he's had great success against Josh Coleman. He's probably looking forward to this at bat, chomping at the bit to get that first high fastball, and instead he gets the straight changeup.
1-1. Posey this week has been dealing with a slight nagging tightness around his neck and upper shoulder. Nothing major, he says. No big deal.
Well, this guy's too valuable. I think the Giants ought to rest him the rest of the series.
I'm right there with you. Get some more looks at Sanchez. On the ground is short. Nick Ahmed. They go the short way. Owings is there. And they get the force on Pagan. No score through 1 in San Francisco.
In his first, of course, season as the D-backs manager, as a manager in Major League Baseball, I asked him last night, I said, I know when you lose, you obviously go over all the moves. It might be hard to sleep. I said, how was last night? He said, well, it wasn't that easy. Everything I did, every move I made, I felt it backfired. He talked about, of course, the move to bring Oliver Perez in to face Brandon Crawford. He said, though, of course, Oliver, that's his job. So it's never easy being a manager, Bob. I know you know that. When you win, it is nice. It is a relief. But some wins you look back on and you reflect on and learn from.
You ever have one that still haunts you?
Oh, I have a bunch of them still on me. I mean, it happens as a manager. We said it many times. You try to put guys in a position where you think you have the better of the matchup, and sometimes the players come through and you look like a genius, and sometimes they don't come through and you look like a dummy. But Chip will get over that rather quickly.
David Peralta leads off the Diamondbacks second against Jake Peavy. Peralta 4 hits in 21 at bats so far this season. That's a fair ball. Nice stab by Belt. Peavy covers and they get the outs. Brandon Belt down the right field line makes a terrific play.
Some quick hands down there by Brandon Belt. That ball looked like it was ticketed for the right field corner. David hits a two-hopper that just skimmed off the bag, causing Belt to make that adjustment. He actually fielded it behind his right hip. And flips on to Jake Peavy, who always gets over there on ground balls hit to the right side.
Well, now it's the two Jakes, Peavy and Lamb. Jake Lamb 9 hits in 22 at bats to start the year, including 3 doubles and a home run. There's a strike, 0-1 for Lamb. The OPS over 1100. Threw a base on balls and a pinch hit appearance in the 11th inning last night. That one is not getting stopped by Brandon Belt. It's into right. Jake Lamb just keeps on hitting, and he has reached base safely in every game he's played this year. Jake Lamb.
Well, I really like the looks of his swing in the early going this season. Very short and quick. He's waiting on the ball. He's not fooled by off-speed pitches. And when he swings that bat, he's getting the barrel on it more often than not. Peavy trying to hit that outside corner, left that sinker up just a little bit. And Jake's not going to miss too many mistakes right now.
Well, here is the MVP and unsung hero in so many ways from last night's ball game, Tuffy Gozovic. He spent all night blocking balls in the dirt. It was remarkable to see. I'm actually a little surprised he's in there tonight. I thought maybe with the workout that Tuffy had, he'd get a day here. But with a day game on Sunday, you got to plan ahead for such things, carrying only 2 catchers now. So at some point he's going to need a break.
What did Jody say? 16 balls in the dirt he blocked last night. You could go down in the bullpen at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and throw 16 balls in the dirt, and most catchers are going to let 1 or 2 get through. But in a game situation, and a lot of them in extra innings, Tuffy didn't let 1 get behind him.
This was Tuffy Gozowic's night last night. It just looks like so much fun.
Well, he makes it look fun, but I guarantee you it isn't. But look, every ball lands right in front of home plate.
Tuffy also threw out Aoki trying to steal. He went 1 for 5 at the plate. Had one really long at bat at the end of the ball game there.
I mean, we've been singing Tuffy's praises since spring training. If you really want to get an endorsement, talk to his pitchers, the guys that throw those pitches in the dirt and know that he's going to block them.
Makes him better.
Oh, yeah. You know, you get ahead in the count 0-2, 1-2. You want to bounce a curveball. If you've got a catcher back there that lets him get through the wickets all the way to the backstop, you hesitate to really pull down on that curve and get it in the dirt. That's the one that tends to hang up over the middle part of the plate, and those get hit hard. You have a catcher that gives his pitchers that confidence to execute the pitch, even if it means throwing it in the dirt. They're going to be a better staff for it.
2-1 to Tuffy. Let's go back to Jody.
It seems that I talk to Tuffy every day, but today was interesting. First of all, those 16 blocked balls, and he had balls go off, basically most of them off his chest, but his mask, his neck, his arm. I said, how'd you feel? How do you feel today? He said, I feel great, which isn't surprising. His name is Tuffy after all. But I talked to Evan Marshall. A lot of those balls in the dirt, that was, of course, from Andrew Chafin, Evan Marshall in those late innings. And Evan said, we should get him a gift. He didn't know what, but they're going to get him a gift at some point, maybe.
About an ice bag and a bottle of aspirin.
3-1. There's the strike. It's full. I was going to say a warm bath and some rubbing alcohol, something. And the thing about Tuffy, he has started 8 of the Diamondbacks' 10 games so far behind the plate. And he has reached base safely in all 8 of those starts. 6 times with base hits, including last night. Lamb the runner at first, 1 out, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Tuffy Gozovic.
Oh, little flinch that time by Jake. I'm assuming he's going to run on this 3-2 pitch, try to stay out of a potential double play.
Down there with first base coach Dave McKay. Lamb heads for second. Tuffy bounces it to Crawford at short. They'll have to settle for 1, and they stay out of the double play. Lamb at second with 2 down for Chris Owings.
Lamb with a very late slide out there at second base. Right up until the last instant, he wasn't sure if Brandon Crawford was going to try to turn 2 or throw across the diamond to first base, so he was ready to break it up if necessary.
2-out RBI chance for CO. A difficult start to the year for Chris. 3 for 29 at the plate with 14 strikeouts. Owings last night 1 for 6. He singled and struck out 4 times. But CO does have base hits in 3 of his last 4 games. Trying to fight his way out of it, and he's getting that opportunity from Chip Hale. Notice anything with CO, Bob?
Well, you know, we looked at his swing last year as compared to this year. There's a few differences, and I mentioned it last night. For me, it's his base, his legs. He's taken some swings where he's kind of lost his toe hold with that back foot. Stride at times has been a little long, kind of lunging at the ball rather than let the ball come to him. All things that usually come in spring training, so that by the time the regular season starts, you feel like you're locked in a little bit. He just didn't have enough spring training.
And of course, the effort to keep 2 hands on the bat.
Yeah, you'll see last year, let's go with that top hand, long finish, and of course that puts a lot of torque on that injured shoulder. So this year, in order to try to take some of that pressure off the shoulder, he's hanging onto the bat with both hands.
CO wasn't able to play in his first Cactus League game until March 14th, coming off that shoulder operation, so he's been a bit behind. Peavy misses away, and it's 2-2. I mean, he told me that it was a completely different offseason than what it would normally be. Typically, during the wintertime, he'd take batting practice 4 or 5 times a week. He didn't do any hitting until he got to camp. And then he had to proceed very slowly just to make certain that that left shoulder was all healed up, stays alive. And he had the shoulder surgery in early October last year, and Chris was told at that point his recovery would be 4 to 6 months. And he's been very limited this spring.
And this is a tough way to go about finding your timing and your rhythm and that good swing that you hope to have all season long. In spring training, you don't mind taking an O from now and then because it doesn't go on your baseball card. But trying to find it against some of the best pitchers in the game is not an easy way to go about it.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Trying to pick up Jake Lamb from second. Here it is.
He's had some better rips in this at bat. Some hittable pitches, fouled him straight back, staying alive on the 2-2 count. He's seen 7 pitches already in this at bat, which is quite an accomplishment for a guy that usually sees 1 or 2, maybe 3 pitches in an at bat. Chris has always been very aggressive up there at the plate.
It's full, 3-2. Nick Ahmed would be next. He's also trying to adjust to that new swing, that follow through that Bob showed you a moment ago. He's always, his whole career, just kept that one hand on the bat, and now it has been an adjustment. Keeping both hands on that bat when he swings through. And it takes some pressure off that shoulder. Worked on it all spring long. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Lamb the runner at second. Owings works a walk. To Good at bat there by CO.
Yeah, real step in the right direction. Got some good swings at pitches in the strike zone. Laid off a tough one right there to end the bat with a walk.
Now remember, too, Peavy, this is just his second start coming off the back problem when he left spring training. Went only 4 innings in his first start. It's a cold night here. You know, both teams have exhausted bullpens, so try and see if they can get to Peavy early here. He's about to throw his 21st pitch of this inning. Here's Nick Ahmed. Nick, 5 hits in 26 at bats to start the year, just over 190. And had a pair of hits in the series opener last night, including a bunt single. And Casey McGee, who, as we said, has a bum knee down there at third, is well back of the third base bag. Peavy's ahead 0-2. Chilly night at the ballpark. Bundled up. Maybe keep warm with some delicious chicken tenders. Favorite of the Seagulls here, apparently. Now it's Posey's turn to block balls in the dirt. A little early for those guys.
You know, the early bird special. Usually they don't roll in until around the bottom of the 8th inning. They start circling, and then in the 9th inning they get closer and closer.
You know the old saying, the early bird gets the chicken tender.
There you go.
Strike 3 called, says Chris Siegel. Second strikeout for Jake Peavy. He rings up on that in strands 2. Jake Peavy keeps it scoreless. 0-0 here in San Francisco. The statue of the great Juan Marichal right outside AT&T Park here in San Francisco. Some great statues all over the ballpark. Willie Mays, of course, and there is the trademark high leg kick of Juan Marichal. The Giant greats. Casey McGee leads off the bottom of the second against Josh Colmector, and here is the real deal. There he is.
Yeah, about that. The Dominican dandy, Juan Marichal.
Baseball Hall of Famer down there with Giants president and CEO Larry Baer.
A quick story about Juan Marichal. When I was on Dusty Baker's coaching staff back in the early 90s, and the Giants made a concerted effort to reach out to some of their former greats, including Juan Marichal. Have him down to the Cactus League in spring training, put on a uniform, come out on the field, and talked to the young players, and they asked Juan, would you like to throw batting practice one day? So he had the full uni on, and as you know, in batting practice they put a mat about 35-40 feet out in front of home plate for the coaches to throw BP. Well, Juan went all the way back to the mound and was using that same windup you saw on the statue right there a moment ago.
What a play by Chris Owings. The backhanded stab coming in there from his second base spot, and makes a terrific throw across his body to get Casey McGee.
Boy, that one was close to hitting the bag out there at second base. Really took a lot of concentration for CO to keep his eye on that ball and make the play. They get him by a wide margin at first base.
Here's Brandon Belt.
Yeah, so Juan's out there, full wind up, the high leg kick, the whole deal, throwing from 60 feet 6 inches. And after about 5 or 6 pitches of batting practice, hey Juan, thanks a lot, but we're going to have one of the coaches finish up.
Brandon Belt scuffling. 0-87. And Belt 2 for 23 to start the year. 0 for 6 last night. He struck out 3 times. And as he steps in here, is hitless in his last 15 at bats. Well, you said it last night, BB, about Juan Marichal. This might be one of the greatest stats in baseball history. Juan Marichal won 243 games in a 16-year major league career. He threw 244 complete games. 3-1 on Belt. These innings totaled for Juan Marichal: 321, 269, 295, 307, 325, 299, 279. Unbelievable.
Just give him the ball and get out of the way.
And ironically, as you also mentioned last night, his career finished in 1975 with the 2 appearances as an LA Dodger, if you can imagine that. Right back to the mound after 14 years as a Giant.
Yeah, the Giants had Mike McCormick, former Cy Young winner in the National League, Jim Ray Hart, both the Willies, McCovey and Mays were both in uniform in spring training. Juan Marichal, Orlando Cepeda. As I said, they really made a concerted effort to reach out to some of the icons of the organization and let the younger players just kind of hang around and pick their brains a little bit.
Diamondbacks have started to do some of that. We had Randy Johnson make an impromptu visit on our booth last night. And we want to thank the big unit again for that. It was a lot of fun.
It really was. I'm glad to see Randy's enjoying himself. He really seems to like his role with the organization.
He just walked in the booth and just came to hang out, just started talking. Dude, we're on the air here. You're going to have to put on a headset. And he was terrific. Throwing out the first pitch at the Reno Aces game tonight, along with President and CEO Derek Hall. Blanco drops that into right field. And he's on the run, thinking, too, he'll put the brakes on as INCIARTE gets to it. And he's got a 2-out single. So Blanco aboard, 2 down for Crawford. 6 hits in 36 at bats to start the year. And we mentioned yesterday how this Giant team is just in one giant collective slump. And Crawford had been stuck in an 0 for 23 before this 2-run homer off Oliver Perez in the 7th inning last night.
Tried to sneak a fastball by him inside. Crawford was all over it.
That home run was Brandon Crawford's first hit since the Giants' 3rd game of the year back at Chase Field. He had been 0 for the week. But started to snap out of it a bit last night. He had a home run, a pair of walks, 1 intentional. And his 4th full season as the Giants shortstop.
Talking to Mike Krukow before the ball game, and thanks to him for going on the pregame show with us. But they scored 30s, or rather they had 37 hits in those first 3 games at Chase Field to start the season. 52 hits over their next 8 games.
Yeah, really scuffled. Comenter ahead 0-1. Well, last night's game was just the second time in 8 games that the Giants have scored more than 2 runs. And there's 6 runs last night. They tied their season high. Done that twice, and they've lost both times. Even when they score, they're losing. One and two. Colementor with that bullpen workload last night. They ran through every relief pitcher they had, trying to get deep into the ball game. He has yet to pitch past the 5th inning in a start this year. Trying to strand Blanco at first with 2 outs and keep him close. Take a look at the defense around Josh Colementor. It's our Mid-First Bank starting defense.
Peralta in left, Pollock in center, INCIARTE over in right field. The infield will be Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side. Chris Owings and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side, with Tuffy doing the catching for Josh Colementor.
Crawford fans of that one, and Colementor has his first strikeout through 2. We have no score.
You by Geico. St. Louis Browns outfielder Pete Gray, a childhood accident. He lost an arm. He made his major league debut playing with one arm. Went 1 for 4 in that ball game. 7-1 St. Louis victory over Detroit. Of course, set the stage for Jim Abbott to later come along and pitch in the big leagues with only one arm.
Threw a no-hitter.
Yeah.
Josh Colementor. Strike 1 from Jake Peavy. Diamondbacks have not had a lot of luck over the years against Jake Peavy. He's done very well versus the D-backs. This one has bounced to short. Crawford has to charge it. And it's a nice play, 1 away. D-backs faced Peavy in back-to-back starts last September, and he won both games. Won 5 2/3 against the D-backs on September 11th here at AT&T Park. Just 1 run on 6 hits. He struck out 8, did not walk a batter. And then he beat the Diamondbacks again in the return match 5 days later. And that time gave up just 1 run over 7 2/3, just 5 hits. His last 3 starts, he is 3-0 with an ERA of 1.77. Ender Inciarte flying out to lead off the ball game.
Jake Peavy, not the big-time strikeout pitcher he once was. He had a season of 240 strikeouts in his Cy Young season back in 07. But he rarely walks anybody. He's a strike thrower.
Ender slaps it the other way. It drops in front of Aoki, and Inciarte has a 1-out single. Second hit for the Diamondbacks against Jake Peavy.
Such a great approach. Very still with his body, very quick with his hands, allows him to wait on that ball. We've seen a lot of those base hits just like that already this season for Ender.
Well, as we mentioned a moment ago, Chip Hale says that Ender has deserved his role, his continued role as the leadoff guy. He likes a potential dynamic combination of Inciarte 1 and Pollock 2, and so that's what they'll go with for a while here. AJ struck out his first time.
And this inning is an example of why you like to clear that pitcher spot the inning before. Josh Colemanter made a quick out here, and Ender Inciarte quickly gets on base, but it's with 1 out in the inning.
That's why those 2 out hits or walks by the 8-hole hitter. So critical. AJ 8 hits in his last 7 games. Got 5 RBIs and he scored 6 runs over that span. There goes Inciarte. It is on the ground and by Crawford. Inciarte will head for third. And the Diamondbacks have runners on the corners. There's that 1-2 combo.
We'll have to ask AJ tomorrow, but the second baseman was covering the bag on this steal attempt by Inciarte. Actually, it's a hit and run. You see Brandon Crawford held his position, and by doing so, he could not get to that slow roller up the middle of the field. Diamondbacks have him on the corner for Goldie.
Paul Goldschmidt grounded out his first time. Inciarte at third, Pollock at first. 1 out. And here's Goldie. 1 for 5 last night. The 1 was a biggie. A 3-run homer with 2 outs in the 5th on Madison Bumgarner. That was just crushed. His second straight game with a home run. In fact, Goldie has now homered 4 times in his last 7 games. Smashes that one into left center field, and the Diamondbacks take the lead. 3 straight singles, and it's 1-0 D-backs. That is RBI number 13 for Goldie. That leads the majors.
You know, I didn't think it was possible, partner, but I think Goldie's hitting the ball harder this year than he did last year.
They're coming off his bat like rifle shots.
Man, every ball is a bullet when he gets a barrel on it. I mean, that's that top spin line drive that just shoots through that infield. Crawford took 1 step to his left and then said, forget it, I can't get to that ball.
A run is in. 3 straight hits. Here's Peralta, grounded out his first time. High in the air, right field corner. Blanco drifting near the warning track. Pollock is at second. He'll tag and head for third. So now they're on the corners with 2 outs for Jake Lamb, who singled his first time up.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations. I'd like to think Diamondbacks fans had some tacos for dinner tonight.
In fact, somebody actually on the Twitter sent me a picture of tacos and said, you know, how about taking care of us again tonight? We'll do what we can. Peavy now at 45 pitches. 2 on, 2 out for Lamb. This is there. It's 1-0. So Jake up there now. 10 hits in 23 at bats to start the year. Jake Peavy retired the side in order to start the ball game, and he has labored ever since, creeping up on 50 pitches here through 2 2/3. And a single and a walk in the second. Giving up 3 singles in the third. 2-0 misses, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. Tuffy Gozawish would be next.
Now we've seen Chip Hale give his hitters a green light on 3-0 a couple times already in the early going this season. The way Jake Lamb is swinging, I think I'd turn him loose right here if he gets a pitch to his liking.
It's at strike 1.
Pitch appeared to be up and out over the plate, up at that upper quadrant of the strike zone there. Not what he was looking for.
A.J. Pollock is the runner at third. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Chop foul. It's full 3-2. Nick Ahmed gets to everything.
He makes all the plays. He put on a clinic last night. Between Tuffy and Nick, if you were a shortstop or a catcher, what a game to watch.
Boy, didn't he ever? So many plays down there at short. 2 on, 2 out, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Goldie takes off from first, and Lamb gets it in the air to right center. That ball is carrying into that corner. Blanco's out there, and he won't get it. It bounces off the wall. Pollock has scored. Goldie has scored, and it's a 2-run triple for Jake Lamb, who just keeps on hitting everything these days. 3-0 D-backs. He's 11 for 24 to start the year.
He hits that same ball last night. It is way out of here. We mentioned in batting practice today, guys were really struggling just to get the ball to the warning track, which tells you how hard Jake hit this one to drive it out there to that 421 mark and bang it off the wall.
So they've spotted Josh Coleman to an early 3-0 lead. Peavy struggling. 4 hits in the inning. 3 runs in, and here comes Tuffy Gozawish.
Yeah, keep in mind the Giants used 5 relief pitchers of their own in that ball game last night. 5 of the 7 relievers they had available, so they're not in great shape down there either.
Tuffy grounded out his first AB. No one kicks away from Buster. Can't find it, but it doesn't roll far enough away for Lamb to come on in. He'll stay put. And it's 1-0. Nice little 2-out infield single. Do nicely right here. To panic at second, and they strand Lamb at third, but the Diamondbacks get 3. Paul Goldschmidt the RBI single, and Jake Lamb the 2-run triple. And as we go to the home half of the third, it's 3-0 D-backs. Live streaming sports service is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, the pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more. Visit MLB.tv for all the details.
Love those widgets.
The pitch tracking widget. Heavey gets that one up in the air. It's a lazy fly ball out to short right center field, and there's Ender Inciarte for the first out in the bottom of the third. So a 3-0 lead for Colmenter. And here comes the leadoff man, Norioki. I like these Giants shirts. They look like the kind that Will Clark used to wear. He was in our booth for a minute last night.
Stopped by to say hello after the big unit left. There's something about left-handed hitters just don't like to be around Randy.
It's like a magnet thing, you know. Just repel each other. But, there's Will the Thrill in uniform today.
Yeah.
He was next door in the Giant TV booth and stopped by to say hello last night.
Yeah, you'll notice when Jake Peavy takes the mound for the next half inning, he wears number 22, which of course was Will Clark's number, and he hesitated to take it. He had always worn, Jake Peavy had always worn number 44, but of course that's retired here in San Francisco for Willie McCovey. So he took 43 last year, but when 22 became available, before he took it, he asked Will if it would be okay if he wore his number.
You better believe he did. A little pop up off the fist, a flare to short. Ahmed is there. And a quick 2 outs for Josh here in the third. Was there a negotiation involved? I mean, is he?
Well, Will said, I want you to have it. You're the kind of player I'd like to play behind, you know. And they're both Southern boys, and, you know, it just seemed to be a nice convergence there. There's a groundswell here in San Francisco to retire that number 22 for Will Clark.
That's not a bad call. He was a tremendous player. Joe Panik flied out his first time.
Will Clark's first at bat in the major leagues at the Astrodome in Houston. He went deep against Nolan Ryan to dead center field.
How about that thrilled Nolan?
Not so much.
I don't think so. The glove of Ahmed at short and into left. So for the third straight inning, the Giants get a 2-out base runner. Took a funky hop there on Nick at shortstop.
You almost have to believe it did take a bad hop, because Nick has made plays a lot tougher than this already in the early going this season. Yeah, it just kind of came up a little bit and hit him in the heel of the glove instead of in the pocket, and goes out there into shallow left field.
That's a base hit for Joe Panik. So a 2-out single in each of the first 3 innings for the Giants. Here's Pagan. Will Clark, 2,100 hits, 2176. He was a lifetime .303 hitter in 15 seasons. Being careful with Pagan. It's 2-0. Pagan singled his first time up, so that's 9 hits in his last 15 at bats. Angel Pagan, and Posey's behind him. Pagan had a pair of hits last night, both coming in extra innings. There's a strike, 2-1.
And that base hit in the first inning, a perfect example of what Mike Krukow was talking about in the pregame show. Angel Pagan early in his career was a guy that didn't like to get to 2-strike counts. But 0-2, very patient, got a pitch he could handle, and banged it back up the middle.
8 for 13 against Josh Colmenter. Angel Pagan. There's the strike. It's even, 2-2.
Right where Tuffy sets up, right on that inside corner.
And that's the pitch that Josh has been missing with through the first 2 starts. His command hasn't been quite what we're used to, but that was a very good sign right there. Broken bat, one hopper to shortstop. Ahmed has it, steps on the bag for the force on Paddock, and Comenter is through 3 with a 3-0 lead. Is presented by Chevrolet. We're in San Francisco, and BB, we need to pass along a birthday greeting to a huge D-backs fan tonight. She watches every Diamondbacks game right here on Fox Sports Arizona, and we want to wish a big happy birthday to Millie Riley. Millie is the mother of Diamondbacks Senior Director of Team Travel and the home clubhouse manager Roger Riley, and I got to meet Millie during the offseason at an event, and she's a huge fan. She watches every game, and so we want to make sure that Millie has a happy birthday. Millie, thank you for watching, and have a happy birthday.
Oh yeah, I know what a big fan Millie is. Back when I was managing the ball club, she sat right down there close to the field and suffered with us when we lost and celebrated when we won. So happy birthday, Millie.
So for a birthday present, Chris Owings has a leadoff single in the 4th. So CO's been scuffling, as we said, 3 for 29 coming in, as a walk and a single so far.
And 2 good at bats. Yeah, that first one saw 8 pitches before drawing the base on balls, and that time bangs one through the left side.
Seriously, why? 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 The guy's got his flip-flops on.
Oh, man.
Is there a dog in the boat?
I think there was.
Yeah, it's a kayak, of course, but the kayak appears to be on fire. Don't anybody panic.
Hey, it's supposed to be 40 degrees tonight. You want to get on a kayak and go out in the bay?
Sure, yeah, I'm in.
Count me in. I'll bring the dog.
Friday night, Bruce and I are gonna. What are you doing this weekend? Well, it's funny you ask.
Yeah, I haven't had frostbite in a long time. They've even got a little grass for the dog there. Did you see that?
Well, you know, you never know when the urge is going to strike.
That's right.
You want to know to Nick Ahmed. Can't imagine that happened very often over at the stick.
Oh no. No.
He'd be blowing into some rocks. Washed ashore.
Ended up down in Monterey before you knew what happened.
2-0 to Nick Ahmed, who struck out looking his first time. Diamondbacks with 6 hits. They lead at 3-0. An RBI single by Goldie in the 3rd. 2 batters later, a 2-run triple by Jake Lamb. And so far, Josh Comenter has given up 3 hits, all singles. 2-1.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
It was a funny year last year for Jake Peavy. And he started out with the Red Sox where he'd won a World Series. Nothing was working. He was 1-9 in Boston in 20 starts. Giants go get him. He comes over here, makes 12 starts down the stretch for San Francisco last year, won 6 games and pitched to a 2.17 ERA. He was great for them through August and September, and he's back this year. He'll turn 34 next month. He's got a 2-year, $24 million deal. There goes Owings on the 2-2. The throw from Posey is not in time, and Chris Owings has his first stolen base.
CO getting involved in the offense tonight. Just a quick peek back there, about halfway down to second base.
Peavy might have lost track of CO over there. So he's at second, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Ahmed. Nick drives it to center, but right at Pagan. Owings will tag and head for third. CO getting aggressive out there.
Smart base running. He saw Angel Pagan just kind of gliding on that ball, moving to his left away from his throwing arm, and CO hustled back to the bag, tagged up, and advanced easily without a play at third.
We've talked about this all year long, Bob. Chip Hale wants these guys aggressive out there, always looking for the opportunity to take that extra base. Just saw a great example of it right there. And now the infield will have to come in with Josh Comenter up there. 1 out and Owings at third. Bell well in on the grass at first. Now the deal for McGee is he just sort of stays even with a runner at third, or does he just pick one spot?
I think he just tries to read Josh Comenter at the plate. He's right in at the edge of the grass right now. CO will get a bigger lead down the line, but if McGee sees Josh Comenter slide his hands up the bat, he'll charge from that position. Pickoff attempt at third base there.
Well, McGee for the first pitch was well in on the grass at third. Now back even with the bag as they throw over. Belt a step or 2 in at first. That's a strike, says Chris Siegel, our plate umpire. Jake Peavy has had traffic around the bases ever since a 1-2-3 first. Check swing by Coley, rolls away from Buster, not far enough away, and Owings stays put at third.
Buster Posey doing his best Tuffy Gosewish impersonation here tonight. He's had to block a couple tough pitches in the dirt.
The 2-1. Josh Comenter drops it into right center field. Owings scores, and it's 4-0 D-backs. An RBI for Josh. Let's give all the credit in the world there to Chris Owings, Bob, for navigating his way around the bases after that leadoff single.
Yeah, clean base hit, stole second, advanced on a fly ball into center, and then scores on this little floater into shallow right center off the bat of Josh Comenter.
That's his 6th career RBI, Josh Comenter.
Look at Josh, too. Everybody's bundled up, parkas, and toboggans,
kidding.
Gloves.
This is summer in Homer, Michigan.
Yeah. This is 4th of July.
balmy out here. Inciarte lifts it the other way, backs up Aoki just shy of the track, and he's got it. Action in the Giant bullpen now. George Contos, who did not pitch last night, will start throwing. He's about the only fresh guy they got back there. Well, Bruce Bochy, we told you it was his 60th birthday yesterday. And somebody asked him, they said, happy birthday, how you doing? He said, well, it's better than the alternative.
It's better than the alternative.
A.J. Pollock singled and scored his last time. He's 1 for 2. Ball 1. Now 7 hits for the Diamondbacks, 3 for the Giants. This is a veteran staff, to put it politely, for the Giants. I mean, Peavy will be 34 in May. Tim Hudson will be 40 in July. Kane is only 30 years old, but he's coming off a couple of surgeries. Ryan Vogelsong will be 38 in July. We've got some age issues on this team. AJ knocks it into left. His second hit tonight. Third hit in the inning for the Diamondbacks. Trying to give Contos some time to get loose in that bullpen.
And if indeed they go to Contos in this inning, they're going to need some length out of him. I mentioned Bruce Bochy had to use 5 relief pitchers in the ball game last night, knowing that he would probably need some help tonight in relief of Jake Peavy.
And looks like he's going to go get him here. Well, Jake Peavy, Sunday at San Diego, 4 runs, 4 hits. He lasted just 4 innings. And he comes out in the 4th tonight. Diamondbacks lead it 4-0. Who's coming up here with 2 on and 2 out in the 4th. Goldie on this road trip so far, not bad. We played roughly 3 games against San Diego, game and a half here. He's got 2 homers, 7 RBIs. He scored 4 times. Our T-Mobile game-changing player. New pitcher for the Giants, is the right-hander George Contos.
And keep in mind, Goldie has yet to face Tim Lincecum here in San Francisco. That's usually a good day for Goldie.
4. Contos, 5 appearances this year, all scoreless. He's worked 7 1/3. 2 on, 2 out for Goldie. There's a strike on 1. Contos back and forth last year from AAA Fresno. His numbers this season. Did a pretty good job for the Giants last year. Pitched in 24 big league games. Went 4-0 with a 2.78 ERA. But he inherits a bit of a 2-out mess here in the 4th. Josh Colmenter is the runner at second after his RBI single. A.J. Pollock is at first. He singled, and now here's Goldie. Two balls and a strike.
I see a couple of different fastballs from Contos, a cutter, a sinker, he'll throw a slider. That was a pitch he just threw to Goldie right there off the outside corner. Doesn't really change speeds a lot. Everything is pretty hard.
The only other guy the Giants have back there who did not pitch last night is Yusmeiro Petit. Their long man, who's always good against the Diamondbacks. Here's the 2-1 to Goldie. Gets it up in the air to right center field, but playable for Pagan. And he's got it. The Diamondbacks strand 2, but they get 1, and it comes courtesy of Josh Colmenter. The RBI single, and it's 4-0 D-backs. Third, gave up 4 runs all earned on 8 hits, walked 1 and struck out 2. Bob, his ERA so far for the year is almost 9.5.
And it's never a good sign when you go back to the dugout. The first person you talk to is the trainer, and he's had some back issues.
In the meantime, Josh Colmenter rolling along. He's given up 3 hits, all singles. He's got a 4-0 lead. He'll work to Buster Posey, Casey McGee, and Brandon Belt 4, 5, and 6 in the San Francisco 4th. Posey hit into a fielder's choice his first time in. There's a strike on 1. Colmenter jumps ahead of Buster Posey. No balls and 2 strikes. And this is a much better Josh than we saw in the first 2 starts of the year. This is away there. Mike Harkey says there has been a difference in Colementer's fastball. Through the first 2 starts, had been kind of running, less of a cut on it, more of a run or a drift, which can drift out over the plate or run into bad spots and get you into trouble. There's a long run for Ender Inciarte, and that's one away. And they've tried to make some adjustments with that in his last bullpen session. They're hoping to see some results tonight. I think so far they have, Bob. He's hitting his spots.
Yeah, he's hitting his spots much better, getting the ball where he wants it. And I can't imagine a better night for a pitcher to pitch than in this ballpark on an evening like this. Ball just not carrying well. Batters trying to keep their hands warm between at bats. And as we mentioned at length, it's just not carrying well here tonight at all.
Casey McGee. Well, Josh said after the loss to the Dodgers on Sunday that, he simply just got to make better pitches. He relies so much on location, spotting the ball just where he wants it. And that had been very inconsistent through 2 starts. That's always the key for him. But he says even the ones that the hitters don't get a lot of the bat to, they get just enough of it on there where it might drop in for hits. He needs to put those pitches in better locations. Just missed there. It's 2-1.
Driving that fastball down to the bottom of the zone right there.
This is where that one, it's full 3-2.
That's the pitch I thought we'd see a lot of from Josh tonight. The high fastball up and out over the plate. Righties and lefties. Throw it out there. Let them hit it to the opposite field. It's not going to go anywhere tonight.
He misses there. A 1-out walk. First walk issued by Colementer tonight. Here comes Brandon Belt.
Steady diet of pitches away to start the sequence. Tries to nip that inside corner. Josh thought he might have had it, but home plate umpire Chris Siegel thought it was off the plate.
Belt grounded out his first time. 2 for 24 to start the year. This is a time where he needs to bear down a bit. He did at times what he needed to, Josh, make better pitches in that start Sunday. He said there were times when he needed to make a pitch in a game in a big spot, and he was able to do that. But the key is to make those pitches before he puts himself in those situations. Right to Goldie, and they double up McGee. How about that? Quick glove hand, a glove save, and a beauty, a glove save. And a beauty. Paul Goldschmidt down there at first base. A rocket right to the glove. They double off McGee, and through 4, it's 4-0 Diamondbacks. the D-backs and Padres game, and she'll get to take home the special Mother's Day ladies tea courtesy of Fry's Food Stores. Buy tickets now at dbacks.com. We'll see you on Mom's Day. Well, we already wished a happy birthday to Millie Riley, Roger Riley's mom. So maybe Raj can score a couple of t-shirts.
Yeah, he knows somebody.
D-backs in the house leading 4-0. Bundled up on a cool night by the bay here at McCovey Cove. We start the top of the 5th inning. David Peralta, Jake Lamb, and Tuffy Gozawish 4, 5, and 6 for the Diamondbacks, who lead at 4-0. They have out-hit the Giants 8-3. Peralta 0 for 2. He has grounded out and flied out. And Chip Hale tonight going with David Peralta in left field, Ender Inciarte in right, and sitting Mark Trumbo tonight, who had that long Peavy, and maybe give David a chance to get his bat going as well. He's got just one extra base hit on the year. And sure enough, right on cue, lines it into right center field. Peralta a single to lead off the 5th. That's the 9th Diamondbacks hit.
Another factor in David Peralta getting the start over Mark Trumbo tonight. Trumbo 2 for 11 lifetime against Giant starter Jake Peavy. And it's nice to have that weapon on the bench. You know, a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark if necessary late in the ball game.
The hammer, as Chip Hale likes to say. Well, speaking of hammers, here comes Jake Lamb, 2 for 2. He's got the single and he's got the triple. He's halfway to the cycle. And 11 for 24 at the plate to start the year. Funny, Bob, when you're talking hitting for the cycle, usually the triple is the hardest part, but in this ballpark, triples are a little easier, and the hardest part, as you mentioned on a night like tonight, might be the home run.
Yeah.
This was Jake Lamb in the 3rd.
I mean, he had home run distance on this ball in any other ballpark in baseball, probably right out there at the 421 mark. They call that area Triples Alley out there. And it causes you to play defense a little differently in this ballpark. We talked about it last season. The Giants right fielders usually shade over toward the gap in right center and give hitters the line.
Peralta on the run. It's a one-hopper to Panic at second, so they move the runner along, and that's the first out in the 5th.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy's reasoning is a ball hit down in the right field corner is probably going to be a sure double, and because it's only 309 right down the line, chances are it won't turn into a triple. However, if you hit one in the gap in right center, it's probably a triple, maybe an inside the park home run. So they want to guard against that more so than balls hit down the line.
It's a long way out there, as Ender Inciarte found out last night. A ball that just kept carrying over his head. Umpires bundled up here tonight as well. Tuffy Gozawish 0 for 2. He lined out his last time up, hit a line drive right at Joe Panic at second for a big hang with him, and there's a ball 1-0. RBI chance for Tuffy. 1 for 5 of the ball game last night. Mentioned that Tuffy mentioned this the other day, in fact, in San Diego, that he is among the players who has received a warning letter from Major League Baseball for violating the new pace of game initiative. Of course, that's a lot more involved there, as we documented, when you're the catcher, rather than just stepping out of the box and strolling around. You have to get the gear on and off and so forth. Chases a high one there. There was a moment in the ball game last night. Angel Pagan did not like a strike call from C.B. Bucknor. And he just stood there out of the box, and C.B. was behind the plate yelling, "Get in there, let's go. You got to stay in the box," after a called strike. And coming up in a couple of weeks, they'll start sending out fines. You get a grace period. They won't start fining players until May. Base hit for GoldschichmidT. Knocks it into right. They're going to wave Peralta. He will score, and it's 5-0 D-backs. RBI single for Tuffy. The 10th hit for the Diamondbacks.
It's up on top of that ball. Tomahawks it down that right field line past Brandon Belt. David Peralta scores easily from second base on that ball.
5 runs.
Oh, tacos.
2 nights in a row.
Nice.
Everybody living Moss these days. And Josh, especially with a 5-0 lead. So here's the only player for the Diamondbacks without a base hit so far. Chris Owings coming up, and then Nick Ahmed, who's 0 for 2 behind him. CO's had a great night at the plate. He walked in the second, singled and scored, stole a base in the fourth. They're trying to keep this going, get Nick up there, let him get in the hit column. Might be the night that Chris turns it around. Walked in the second, singled in the fourth, stole a base, tagged up on a fly ball, and came in on the Colementor RBI single. Good trip around the bases.
That's the biggest thing when you're struggling as a player. You just feel like you're not involved in the game. You don't really do anything to contribute to a win or try to prevent a loss. But CO tonight involved in everything in that last at bat.
In the hole, Panic able to smother that one and makes a terrific play at second. Joe Panic, as Tuffy moves up. Let's take a look. Chris Owings led off the fourth with a single, trying to get his bat going, but the impressive thing was the trip around the bases.
Got a great jump, stole the bag easily, and then a good read on a fly ball to center field. Realized he could tag and advance on Angel Pagan, and then comes around to score on the Josh Colementor base hit.
Manufacturing a run. Ahmed has struck out looking and flying out 0 for 2. And as we mentioned a moment ago, the only player, including the pitcher Josh Colementor, who does not have a base hit. D-backs about hit the Giants 10-3. That one is popped up behind the plate, and Buster Posey backing up. That one carried back toward the infield as always does, but Buster was right there negotiating the plate and the mask down there. But the Diamondbacks add one more. They go to the home half of the fifth. They lead it 5-0. Express brought to you by Cox Communications is set to take you to a D-backs game. Stop by this month's participating Cox Solutions store at the Tempe Marketplace, and you can enter for your chance to win 2 seats on the Fan Express bus. You'll get round-trip transport to the D-backs game on May the 9th. May the 9th. For more information, visit FoxSportsArizona.com. May 9th is Saturday, a 5:10 start against the Padres. So get on the bus, Gus, and we'll see you at the ballpark. Josh Collmenter so far a 5-0 lead. He's given up just 3 hits, all singles, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And he'll work to the lower third of the Giant order. Gregor Blanco, who has one of their 3 hits, leads it off. Collmenter so far through 4 innings. And this is the start that we've been hoping for Josh, to get him turned around this year. Looks like Yusmeiro Petit has started throwing in the Giant bullpen. Oh, not Petit. That's Ryan Vogelsong. Yeah, I'm going to save Petit.
No guarantee that Vogelsong is going to come into this ball game. This is another one of those situations you kind of see what happens to the first 2 hitters before you make a determination what you're going to do with the pitcher spot, as that one's popped up to Nick Ahmed at shortstop, 1 down.
I'll tell you what, this is a dream come true on the other side for Chip Hale, and Coley's cruising along here. He ran through the entire bullpen last night in the 12-inning game, and actually had Collmenter warming up in the bullpen last night, just in case it went beyond 12. And if they had done that, Chip said after the ball game, they would have had to call someone up today from the minor leagues maybe to start this game. And now with Coley cruising along here, maybe give the bullpen a breather for a few more innings at least. Brandon Crawford struck out his first time. And Josh faced the Giants opening day, of course, at Chase Field. Went less than 5 innings, gave up 10 hits. So this is a big-time bounce-back start against these guys for him. There's a bouncer to Goldie at first. 2 up, 2 down in the 5th. Although Josh has pitched very well in this ballpark in his career. 2-0 with a 1.42 ERA in 6 appearances, including 2 starts. He also picked up his first career save here at AT&T Park. That was last year, April 9th. He worked 4 scoreless innings, closing out a 7-3 D-backs win, and what actually turned out to be his final relief appearance of the season last year. It was a year in which Josh Collmenter recorded his first ever save and his first ever shutout. Don't see that a whole lot. Joaquin Arias will hit for the pitcher's spot. So we might see Vogelsong next inning. Yeah. I guess we will at this rate. And Arias up there, 2 hits and 13 at bats. He did homer last weekend in their series at Petco Park. Popped him up. Very shallow right center. Owings backing up out there, and it'll be A.J. Pollock who comes in. And Collmenter is through 5. He's got a 5-0 lead, rolling along, working on a 3-hit shutout.
is just next to the Diamondbacks dugout, and my new friend Jack and his posse, they're out there, got the fire going. Guys, I have to tell you, it's an incredible spread they have. Blue cheese burgers, bacon wrapped jalapenos, asparagus, and Jack's dog is named Hobie, by the way. He just loves it out here. It's actually not too bad, not as chilly as you might think.
Well, it looks very impressive, Jody. My only point is you could have that great spread on the land. Hello. Ryan Vogelsong, his third appearance of the year. He started the second game of the season against the Diamondbacks at Chase Field, and it didn't go well. Gave up 7 earned runs in 4 2/3. Vogelsong's only other appearance this year was also in relief. That was Saturday at San Diego. That one didn't go well either. He worked 3 2/3 in relief and gave up 4 earned runs on 9 hits. And he's in here trying to just keep it close at this point for a tired Giant bullpen. He's ahead of Colementor 0-2. I get the food, BB. The tailgating, I'm in and I'm there. But can you tailgate on a kayak? I guess you can.
I guess you can. Maybe for a day game, but not on a night like tonight.
Keep those seagulls away. After a chicken tender fell from the sky last night. Kind of a Chicken Little story, if you will. 2-2. I just thought of that.
Very good. Very good.
It's, that thing, by the way, was all over the interweb. The chicken tender dropping from the claws of a seagull. Right on the pitcher's mound.
And right as the ball was being delivered. I'm not sure if it was a distraction. Buster Posey was the hitter, wasn't he? Yeah, I think he was.
Randall Delgado was on the mound, and all of a sudden a chicken tender fell from the sky.
See, the Giants should try to train those seagulls. You know, to drop things behind the starting pitcher as he's delivering the ball.
Here comes Sam the Seagull. There's strike 3, so a good start for Vogelsong. This was the incident last night. Watch the top right portion of your screen. Right there, you'll see a chicken tender just right there fall out of a drop from a bird.
That's why we show up every day. You never know what you're going to see at the old ballpark.
There it is, and it's bouncing around on the mound just as Randall is throwing a pitch, and it created kind of a stir out there for a while.
Well, nobody wanted to touch it.
Nope.
I'm not touching it.
Let's get Mikey to eat it. He'll eat anything. And then during the pregame show, Jody Jackson she's being pelted with chicken tenders. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Ender Inciarte singled and scored in the 30s, 1 for 3. I got a text, BB, from the governor, Greg Schulte, working just to our left in the radio booth, and he mentioned that our plate umpire tonight is Chris Siegel. Not Seagull, but Siegel. That's the comedy stylings of Greg Schulte. Lance Barrett, Dan Isonia, and C.B. Bucknor at third.
And if you enjoy the comedy stylings, you can probably go over to the cruise boat. He'll be working there later on.
Ian Isaac will be over there on the Lido deck. Governor's very excited. He and Nancy have been told to book one of those Panama Canal deals.
Oh, nice.
You go through the big cruise ship on the Panama Canal, or vice versa. You go through the canal on the cruise ship. Well, you can get off, I guess. You a big cruise guy, you and Joan?
I've been on a couple, but both cruises that I've been on in my lifetime, one in Hawaii, one in Mexico, we docked every night. Or actually, we docked in the morning, got off the boat, enjoyed the activities, and then got back on the boat at dinner time and just kind of went around in circles until we docked the next day.
Ender Inciarte gives this one a ride. It backs up Blanco, drifting into that corner. And you see him kick the dirt there. As you can see, this was blowing up the Twitter. A rally chicken finger tender. D-back Nation coming up with some one-liners. A.J. Pollock 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He scored a run.
Now pizza starts falling out of the sky. You're on your own, partner. I'm going to have to get down there at field level.
You might start weeping with joy. I saw you. Well, you crushed some pizza yesterday.
Yeah.
Another good ballpark for food. On the ground, Casey McGee tackles it. And he's not going to get AJ.
Oh, he's not good either. He's got that bad knee. I think he kind of fell down on it as he went to his left and made that diving stop. Really got up awkwardly to try to throw across the diamond. Not in time to get AJ.
McGee missed 5 straight starts with a left knee strain. They ruled out a base hit. And that's Pollock's 3rd hit tonight. And McGee seems to be okay. He's been out for 5 days. He wants to get in on the action. Crawford was right there, but he had kind of a tweener. He looks okay. Here's Goldie. An RBI single. He scored a run in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. The home run last night was Paul's 7th career home run here at AT&T Park. And counting tonight in 33 games in this ballpark. He's got 29 RBIs.
And granted, this year's Giants pitching staff a little dinged up, a little older than they were in the past. But well, you think back a couple years ago, they could run some arms at you.
And when you consider the arms they've thrown out there, that Goldie track record in this ballpark is even more impressive. You're right. There goes AJ. There's the stolen base for Pollock, his 1st of the year. And the 2nd steal for the D-backs tonight. Chris Owings had one back in the 4th.
Had such a big jump. Buster Posey didn't even try to come up out of his crouch, just tried to throw from his knees, get it down there as quickly as he possibly could. But AJ just outran that throw to second base.
Nothing going the Giants' way. They have lost 7 straight. They are 3-8. 8 losses, the most in the major leagues. They have yet to win a home game this year. 7 straight losses, the most for the Giants since they lost 8 in a row back in June of 07. 2-1 to Goldie. There's a strike, says Chris Siegel. Or Siegel, if you prefer.
Might have just nipped that outside corner with one of the red seams on the baseball.
It's full 3-2. Peralta on deck. David singled and scored his last time up. Ogleson came on to start the 6th. Struck out Colementor, got Inciarte to fly out, but a single and a stolen base have put A.J. Pollock at 2nd. 2 down. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Paul Goldschmidt. All 4. Well, maybe you mentioned pizza will fall out of the sky. Our director Mitch Riggin points out that this is the anniversary of a famous pizza incident at a ballpark recently. We go back to Boston when the fan threw a piece of pizza at a guy. Right there. In the Patriots jacket of all things. Tommy Brady would never do that. Peralta just laces one down the left field line, and this is going to get a run home as it rolls over the Giant bullpen out there. Goldie's in at 3rd, and it's 6-0 Diamondbacks. So Peralta 2 for 4. And he ends up at second base. 6-0 D-backs.
Keep your foot on the gas. Boy, good to see David shooting one that opposite way. Occasionally, when he gets into some trouble, he tries to pull a little bit too much, but takes this sinker from Brian Vogelsong, stays right on it, drives it past Casey McGee down in that left field corner for an RBI double.
12 hits for the D-backs. 2 out, second and third. And here comes Jake Lamb. A single in the second, a 2-run triple in the third. He's 2 for 3. Ball 1. Last 6 games, counting tonight. Jake has 9 hits and a pair of walks. Goldie at third, David Peralta at second. 1-1.
Well, you love the way the offense has continued to take advantage of every opportunity presented to him, and Josh Colemanter has to love it. He can pitch even more aggressively now with a 6-run lead.
Josh so far through 5 innings has given up just 3 hits, all singles. 2-1 to Lamb. FoxSportsArizona.com. Read all about it. All the sports news you won't get anywhere else. For Arizona sports fans, FoxSportsArizona.com. Lots of chicken tender video on the website today.
Can't get enough.
2 balls and a strike. It's 3-1. Tuffy's on deck.
You know, the base open and a right-hander on deck. No guarantee that Jake Lamb's going to get a fastball to hit here on this 3-1 count. Vogelsong just as likely to throw that straight changeup.
Bases are loaded. Second walk in the inning issued by Vogelsong. Diamondbacks Live, the post-game show, follows our ball game reaction from both clubhouses. Dave Righetti out to the mound with the bases loaded and 2 down for Tuffy, who had an RBI single in his last at bat. Diamondbacks and Giants series continues this weekend. Tomorrow's coverage starts at 5:30, followed by the series finale Sunday. That starts at 12:30. Game coverage begins with Diamondbacks Live pregame show right here on Fox Sports Arizona. 2 more games against the Giants over the weekend. Ruby De La Rosa and Chris Heston tomorrow, and then Hellickson and Hudson Sunday.
Well, Heston's been really good in his 2 starts for the Giants. A 1-1 record, ERA of 0.69.
He looked really good against the Diamondbacks in Game 3 when he filled in. So here it is, bases loaded, 2 down for Tuffy, who's 1 for 3. There's a strike, 1-1. Paul Goldschmidt is the runner at third. David Peralta at second. Jake Lamb aboard at first. Diamondbacks have now scored runs in 4 consecutive innings, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And trying to keep it going. He's going to have another one of those toughie at bats where he gets down 2 strikes and fouls off 10 pitches.
Well, we certainly hope so.
I think he's thinking the same thing right there, kind of a smirk on his face. Did that last night late in the ball game. It was like an opera. Called strike 3. But the Diamondbacks get another run. We'll go to the home half of the 6th on the anniversary of the pizza toss. Proud moment for Red Sox Nation. Diamondback Nation loving this. They're up 6-0. Keeping those giant bats chilly. Only 3 hits so far, all singles. And he's got a 6-0 lead as he starts the bottom of the 6th with the leadoff man, Nori Aoki. Aoki 0 for 2. So it's Aoki, Panic, Pagano. BB, we talked at the top of the show about the need for Josh to control that top third of the Giant order, which had just knocked him all over the place on the opening day start. And he taps back to the mound. The Aoki, Panic, Pagan trio combined for 8 hits and 9 at bats against Josh through the first 5 innings on opening day. And how about this?
2 knocks in what is that, 5, 6 at bats in the ball game tonight. Joe Panik's was an infield hit. Angel Pagan's came with 2 outs and nobody on base back in the first.
So mission accomplished so far for Josh. And here's Panic, who singled his last time.
Well, one thing, if you can keep that other team off the bases on a cold night like this, it's tough to get loose. It's tough to stay loose under these conditions. And then when you're just going up there and taking your hacks and grounding out, flying out, go back and sit in the dugout again, it is really hard to stay warm.
And then plus 2, the Diamondbacks have had long innings. So when you're out there in the field, you're just standing around too.
The wind blowing down the back of your neck.
Brushed the back inside. It's 2-1. Giants have not had a hit since Panic's 2-out single in the 3rd. Holmenter has been very efficient. Exactly what we talked about him needing to do here. 70 pitches. That's a foul ball. Right by Bill Hayes, the first base coach. 3 balls and 2 strikes now, full count, with Pagan on deck. Mike Harkey talking to reporters about Josh Collmenter. His rough first couple of starts. And Hark said that, you know, the good thing about Josh was he was able to limit the damage out there in terms of the scoreboard. When he got hit, didn't exactly get rocked, wasn't giving up runs in bunches. Sunday at Chase Field, 3 runs, 9 hits, and 5 against LA. And that's going to stay fair. Tough play for Tuffy. How about that? Tuffy goes a wish. Just putting on a catching clinic in this series. Pounced on that one, and he throws out Panic. Make that our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game, and Tuffy, Bob, keeping his cool behind the plate.
Yeah, no option but to turn his back to his target, scoop and throw all in one motion with the speedy Joe Panic running down that first baseline. And look at the throw right on the letters of Paul Goldschmidt for the out at first base. Can't do it any better than that.
Just enough to get Panic, so 2 down for Pagan. Yanks that one foul, 0-1. Josh, no matter how well he's pitched, giving up 3 singles and a walk, has only had 1-1-2-3 inning, and that was the 5th. So if he can get Pagan here, he'll have retired 7 straight. A ball and a strike. And Mike Harkey talking about Collmenter's ability to limit the damage on the scoreboard in his first 2 starts. That, you know, he could have easily given up 15, 20 runs. But he was able to make pitches when he really needed to make pitches. And so that was, for Hark, kind of an indicator that Josh wasn't too far away from where they wanted him. And we've seen that tonight. Three balls and a strike to Pagan. Posey on deck. Chris Owings spins and throws some Diamondback defense in this inning. Tuffy goes a wish behind the plate, and now some COD. Chris Owings at second base. Collmenter has set down 7 straight. He leads it 6-0. You in part by Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Law Tigers, Arizona's motorcycle lawyers. And by First Bank, member of the FDIC. San Francisco, California. Diamondback baseball, game 204 against the Giants here on Fox Sports Arizona. And the Diamondbacks, as we start the 7th, lead San Francisco 6-0. Lower third of the Diamondback order up here against Ryan Vogelsong on in relief. And this might be the game, BB, where we look back and say that was the night that Chris Owings kind of turned it around. He's done a whole bunch of different little things really well tonight. Came in 3 for 29 at the plate. Lift that one foul down the right field line and in the seats. 3 for 29, 14 strikeouts, but he walked in the second, singled, stole a base, scored a run in the fourth, and made that terrific defensive play at second to win the 6th.
He's got more range than a lot of second basemen because he's a natural shortstop. Goes way to his left that time to take away a base hit.
And he's up there 0-2 on Vogelsong. Chris Owings bounces it off the mound and into center field. CO has been aboard 3 times tonight. A walk and 2 singles.
Good night for Chris. Really good to see. You know how hard he's worked to try to battle his way out of this early slump. We talked about his abbreviated spring training, but head right down on the ball. Much quicker, shorter swing tonight. He's not lunging out there after every pitch. Good to see him finally getting some results.
And CO now with base hits in 4 of his last 5 games. Leadoff man aboard, the 13th hit for the Diamondbacks. And the only guy in the starting lineup that does not have a base hit tonight, including the pitcher Josh Comenter, is at the plate. It's Nick Ahmed, the shortstop. And Comenter, working on a 3-hit shutout, is in the on-deck circle. He has been extremely economical with his pitches so far. And so he appears to be in good shape to make a run at trying to close this thing out. We'll see if he can continue to be efficient.
Boy, and on a night when you really wanted to stay out of that bullpen as long as you possibly could, Josh is giving Mike Harkey and his skipper Chip Hale exactly what they needed.
He's at 79 pitches right now through 6 innings. Ahmed ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. There's a strike. Nick coming off a 2-hit night last night. His 2nd multi-hit game of the year. Takes a big cut and misses. It's 2-2.
Well, this is one Nick's going to have to learn how to lay off of. That above the letters fastball looks so tempting, tough to catch up to, and he just has really had a hard time laying off that pitch.
And we see him take swings just like that from time to time on those high ones. And that is a foul ball. Just missed over the third base bag.
So close.
Well, when Nick Ahmed reported for spring training this year, he was asked by the coaches, do you feel good about your swing mechanics? Because they've been up and down. We talked about his hands. They were up high, they were down low, now they're kind of in the middle. And he said that he did. So they were going to go in there and tinker with things, but when he said, yeah, I feel comfortable up there, they kind of pulled back and let him do his thing. And you can see those hands, they were below the belt at one point. There's a little fly ball out to right field. Blanco's thing. And then they were up higher. Now they're sort of 3/4.
Yeah, there are hitting coaches in the game, or there have been hitting coaches in the game that say that they're not going to go to a player. They want to wait for the player to come to them and say, I need help. I'm searching. I can't seem to find my rhythm. I can't seem to find a good setup in the batter's box that gives me a chance to hit the ball. And there have been hitting coaches that will just let you suffer until you come to them and say, I need help. I think Turner Ward and Mark Grace are a little more proactive than that.
Josh Colmentor, who's already got an RBI single, has his second hit, and it gets behind Blanco, and Owings is on the run. He's going to score easily to make it 7-0, and Colmentor's in at second. It's Josh Colmentor's night tonight.
You mentioned the Giants have yet to win a home game this year and starting to see some signs of some frustration. Gregor Blanco really misplayed that ball out in right center field, got way too close to it, couldn't play it on a hop, couldn't keep it in front, and Angel Pagan just stood in center field and kind of watched him go get it.
They're not used to this out here, that's for sure. Inciarte right to Belt at first, and Colmentor moves up 90 feet, 2 down. Still waiting for the official ruling. They have put up an error on the board, so it's a single and an error on Blanco, E9. And now Colmentor is standing at third base with 2 outs. And here's A.J. Pollock, who's 3 for 4, 3 singles. He has scored twice. Yeah, the Giants, 8 losses, more than any other team in baseball. They've lost 7 straight. Their last 8-game losing streak, June of 07. And the worst ever start since they moved to San Francisco from the Polo Grounds for the 1958 season was 3-9. If they lose here, they'll be 3-9. They've done that 3 times. The last was 2000. 2-0 to Pollock. 3 balls and no strikes. Goldie's on deck. Three in 5 years, not a bad run. One of the, well, really one of the best in sports the last several decades.
Yeah, 2010, 2012, 2014. Isn't there a slogan this year, something about beat the odds?
Yeah.
Yeah, try to win on an odd numbered year.
Strike 2, it's full. Ball 4. Here comes Goldie.
Ooh. Back-to-back pitches, one called a strike, one called ball 4. Looked to be in very close to the same location.
Third walk issued by Vogelsong. He wanted it on the mound, that's for sure. So they're on the corners with 2 outs for Goldie, who walked his last time up. Single and scored a run back in the third. He's 1 for 3. .280 career hitter against Ryan Vogelsong. Goldie came into the ball game 12 RBIs at the start of play, leading the major leagues. He got number 13 with that RBI single back in the third.
A .280 hitter, but he's also drawn 9 walks, which tells me he sees Ryan Vogelsong really well.
He's not seeing anything to hit so far. It's 3-0. And Peralta's on deck. He would be next. Vogelsong in relief here at 50 pitches. And he's only worked 1 2/3 innings. The 3-0 to Goldie. There's a strike.
I think if this was a 0-0 game or a 1-0 game, you might have seen Goldie come out of his shoes swinging at that 3-0 fastball. But with a 7-run lead, showing a little respect to the Giants and Ryan Vogelsong by not hacking at a 3-0 pitch.
Now it's 3-2. That's good manners.
Well, you know, you can argue that all day long, but there are those who say that's one of those unwritten rules. With a big lead in a ball game, you don't go chasing 3-0 pitches. Kind of rubbing the opposing team's nose in it a little bit.
AJ takes off from first, and that's a call. Strike 3. Chris Siegel rings him up. The Diamondbacks have a 7-0 lead going into the bottom of the 7th. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Comenter working on a 3-hit shutout. TNT Park, the D-backs have scored runs in 5 consecutive innings. They got 3 in that third, 2 coming in on Jake Lamb's RBI triple. 14 hits, only 3 for the Giants, all singles, and Comenter out there working on a 3-hit shutout. And all that talk about Josh and his rough start to the year this season. His ERA coming in was over 6.5, 19 hits allowed in just under 10 innings of work in his first 2 starts. He had yet to go past the 5th in a start this year.
We talked about perhaps this being a breakthrough night for Chris Owings. Same could be said for Josh Comenter.
Buster Posey leads off the 7th. Posey came into the ball game 11 for 20 in his career against Josh Comenter with 3 home runs. Out to center field, A.J. Pollock has room. Buster 0 for 3, 1 down in the 7th. Comenter's now retired 8 straight. Casey McGee walked his last time up. McGee back in the lineup after missing 5 straight starts with that left knee strain. That's foul down the left field line, out of play. Josh Comenter, 6 appearances in this ballpark coming into tonight. A 1.42 ERA. And that number's going down at this rate. There's a strike. He's ahead 0-2.
We've seen Josh do that a few times tonight as well. Gets ahead in the count, pushes hitters off the plate with that fastball up and in. If you've got a reputation of being a strike thrower, and Josh is basically a 2-pitch guy, fastball, changeup, he'll mix in the occasional curve, but if you get a reputation of being a strike thrower that doesn't move hitters off the plate or make them move their feet, guys are just going to hang out over that plate all night long.
Lifted in the air along the right field line. Ender INCIARTE! Oh. He's got it! More Diamondback defense. We've seen Tuffy Gozawish at catcher, Chris Owings at second, and now Ender INCIARTE in right field.
What an effort. Ball getting knocked down the entire time. Wasn't hit hard to begin with. Ender covered a lot of ground playing over into that triples alley area in right center field. And Josh Colementor certainly appreciates it.
2 down now for Belt, who's 0 for 2. Giants have not had a base hit since Joe Panik's 2-out single in the 3rd. Into the shift, and Josh Colementor has retired 10 straight Giants. He leads at 7-0 here in San Francisco. Field, it's college night, which means students can get a ticket to the game for just $5. Get your college night ticket right now online, dbacks.com/college. Well, Josh Colementor taking the Giants to school tonight, so Bruce Bochy trying to get some guys inning 2 off. Hector Sanchez comes in, takes over for Buster Posey behind the plate. Gregor Blanco moves from right field to center, replacing Angel Pagan, and Justin Maxwell takes over for Blanco in right. David Peralta 2 for 4. A single, an RBI double. He scored a run. There's Maxwell in right field. David Peralta lifts that one high and deep to right center field, and that ball is going to one-hop the wall. It's a ground rule double for Peralta. His second double in as many at-bats. It's a 3-hit night for David.
All right, once again, just about any other ballpark in baseball, David Peralta's got himself a home run. Boy, did he time that curveball well. Drove it out there toward Triples Alley, one hop off the warning track and up over the barrier for a double.
I'll tell you what, they had Peralta in there instead of Mark Trumbo after Trumbo homered last night. And Chip Hale was right on the money. Peralta 3 for 5, 2 doubles. Ismero Petit will start throwing in the Giant bullpen. Here's Jake Lamb, who's been aboard 3 times tonight. A single, a 2-run triple. He walked his last time up. Ball 1.
Well, you can just tell by the way Jake is taking pitches this year that he's seeing it so much better. He's in a much better position to hit the ball. His swing is shorter and quicker. Last year there were times when that front foot came down, the hands started moving with it, anticipating a pitch in the strike zone instead of seeing it first and then firing your hands.
Jake has reached base safely in every game he's played this year. Threw a base on balls and a pinch hit appearance in the 11th inning last night. 3-1. Diamondbacks have out-hit the Giants 15-3. Ball 4. It's the 4th walk tonight for Ryan Vogelsong. Look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Game 3 of this 4-game series tomorrow. We'll have it for you right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Ruby De La Rosa, who's 2-0 so far. And Chris Heston, who's been terrific for the Giants. He looked very good against the Diamondbacks last week at Chase Field. Here comes Bruce Bochy. Wants to have a word with Chris Siegel. I think he's
usually
going to go get Vogelsong.
Yeah, usually means a double switch. When you immediately go to the umpire, you're bringing in not only a new pitcher, but probably a new position player.
Yeah, Matt Duffy coming off the bench for the Giants. Looks like Duffy will replace McGee at 3rd, and Petit coming in back after this.
Banquet back in 1951 prior to the Cubs home opener, slamming Sammy Snead, teed off from home plate, hit a golf ball over the 89-foot tall scoreboard in Wrigley Field in center. It wasn't a baseball, it was a golf ball. And of course, if he tried to do that today, he might hook one and hit the jumbotron, and that wouldn't be good.
Somebody'd probably sue him. Yusmeiro Petit, Tuffy goes a wish. First pitch swinging, pops it up behind the mound. Belton panic. It's panic. And that's the first out in the top of the 8th. Matt Duffy is taken over at third for Casey McGee, and Petit, the new pitcher.
Now batting, number 16, Chris Owings.
Yusmeiro Petit, his 5th appearance this year. The opponent sitting just under 240 against him. 2 on, 1 out, and here's Chris Owings. CO's had a great night. Walked in the 2nd. Singled, stole a base, and scored a run in the 4th. Singled and scored his last time up in the 7th. That one goes through Sanchez, and the runners move up right through the wickets.
Talked all night about what a tough night it is to play here. Boy, Sanchez really got crossed up there. Didn't know whether to backhand that ball or catch it with fingers down. Didn't do either. That'll be a pass ball on Sanchez. Tough to come off the bench cold in a ball game like this and go behind the plate and try to corral some of those pitches.
And by cold, we mean literally. It is chilly here tonight. Everybody bundled up. Some of that Ghirardelli hot chocolate. And get that cranked up down the left field line. Owings belts it into left, and that ball is just foul. That would have been a nice nightcap for CO right there. 2 singles and a walk. A couple of RBIs for sure on that one. Instead, it's a 1-1 count. David Peralta, the runner, at third. Jake Lamb at second base. 1 out here in the 8th. 1-2. Giants will have the lower third of their order in the home half of the inning. Blanco, Crawford, and Duffy after all the changes for Bruce Bochy. Pitcher spot is now 5th in the Giant order. Owings strikes out. 2 down, and here comes Nick Ahmed trying to get in the hit column. He's the only D-back starter, as we mentioned, who does not have a hit tonight. Nick is 0 for 4.
Used to joke on nights like this, if one guy was hitless, he was being a good team player. Somebody's got to make the outs.
Way to pick him up. Well, Nick doesn't want to be that guy. A little selfish here.
Drive in a couple right here.
Comenter, who's 6 outs away from a 3-hit shutout, will stand in the on-deck circle with 2 down. Two. Yusmeiro Petit always much better coming out of the bullpen than when he's in the rotation for whatever reason. And the numbers are startling. And he strikes out Ahmed. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Petit. Josh Comenter 6 outs away from the shutout. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Diamondbacks up 7-0. Given up only 3 hits, all singles. He has retired the last 10 Giants he's faced. He's got only 1 strikeout tonight, Bob, but he's 6 outs away from a shutout. It would be the 2nd of his career.
Best command we've seen from Josh so far this season. He's been able to move that ball in and out, up and down. When he wants to work the bottom of the zone, he's been right down at the kneecaps. When he wants to work the top, he's been just above the letters.
And of course, you'll remember that effort against the Cincinnati Reds at the end of May last year when he faced the minimum 27. Got some double play balls behind him. Jordan Pacheco takes over at first base for Goldie with Clementer at 90 pitches here. And an 0-1 count on Blanco to open up the 8th. Blanco, Crawford, Duffy, 7, 8, 9. Popped him up behind the plate. Tuffy gives it a look, but it's in the seats. Well, that game against the Reds was one of the highlights of the season for Diamondback fans. May 29th. A minimum 27, a 3-hit shutout, struck out 5. It's a bouncer to second. Owings is there. 1 down in the 8th. 11 straight set down by Clementer. The last Giant base runner was Casey McGee, a 1-out walk in the 4th. Their last hit was Panic's 2-out single in the 3rd. Brandon Crawford has struck out and grounded out. 0 for 2. Josh in that game against the Reds where he had the shutout last year had 3 base runners. All were erased on double plays. He retired the last 11 he faced to close out his first career complete game and first career shutout. And he's retired the last 11 Giants he's faced right here, but he's behind on Crawford 2-0 with Duffy on deck. There's a strike, 3-1. Remember, even the last Giant hit, Bob, was that roller by Panic that took that funny hop on Nick Ahmed back in the 3rd. So this is one upstairs. It's 3-2. This was Joe Panic's 2-out single. This was scored a single.
And last bounce came up just enough to take it out of the sweet spot of the glove and hit him on the heel of the glove.
3-2 to Crawford. Out to left center field. Long run for Peralta and Pollock. It's AJ in left center. 2 down in the 8th.
A good comeback there after falling behind 3-0. A couple of borderline pitches could have easily been 1-2, but as it is, he was behind 3-0 and works his way back in the count. It's Crawford to fly out center field.
Well, you got a good young hitter up there in Matt Duffy. Took over at 3rd for Casey McGee. Duffy, a 300 hitter to start the year. He's got 6 RBIs. And a pair of hits and RBIs in the ball game here last night. He did not go. This is Lance Barrett down at front. Duffy has hit in 5 straight games and 7 of his first 9 to start the year. 100 pitches for Clementer with 2 outs in the 8th. That's a ball, 2-0. Nothing going on with Chip Hale in the bullpen. And boy, is that just what the doctor ordered or what?
He's the kind you like. Just kick back, put your feet up, and let Josh roll as long as he can.
Makes it even more remarkable. Sky to right. INCIARTE. And Josh Colmenter has retired 13 straight. He's 3 outs away from a 3-hit shutout. Look at our Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights. Well, you know, we knew the Diamondbacks, Bob, were going to score some runs this year, but they have put up back-to-back 7 spots in the first 2 games of this series. It's been quite a different story for the Giants, due mostly to that man who's at the plate, Josh Colmenter. Giants last night, 6 runs on 11 hits. Tonight, a bagel on 3 hits. And Colmenter has retired 13 straight, and he leads off the 9th. Already with 2 hits himself. He had an RBI single in the 4th. Stop it. Josh Colmenter. Hurry. Get there. Oh, man. Dude, it is your night. Telling you. Unbelievable. Colmenter aboard for the 3rd time. That's his 3rd hit and the 16th hit for the Diamondbacks today.
Yeah, it looked like a clean single up the middle off the end of the bat, but Brandon Crawford, knowing that the pitcher's running, didn't quit on it, fields it out in shallow center, and Josh had to turn it on those last couple steps to leg that one out.
So Colmenter, they rule it a single. His first career 3-hit game. RBI single in the 4th, a single in the 7th, and now a single in the 9th. Here's Ender Inciarte.
Might be his last 3-hit game.
Ender singled and scored in the 3rd. Right back up the box. 17 hits for the Diamondbacks. And here's the stat of the night, BB. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Josh Colmenter has 3 hits. So do the Giants.
How about that?
Oh, by the way, he's 3 outs away from a shutout.
On a night when his team really needed him to get deep into the ball game, he just might finish this thing on his own.
That's probably the discussion right now. Chip Hale and Glenn Sherlock in the Diamondback dugout. A.J. Pollock up there. He's had quite a night. He's been on base 4 times. 3 singles and a walk. A.J. has scored twice and stolen a base. Diamondbacks with 7 runs last night. 7 more here tonight. So far on 17 hits. 1-1. Mention Yasmero Petit. There's our boy and his dog. What was his name? Fluffy? Sparky?
Hobie.
Hobie.
Yeah.
Jody Jackson. I guess Jody was over there yelling at him from the shore. I'm told our producer Bill Cochran has lined up a kayak for Jody tomorrow. BB. Jody might be up there.
Very nice. I'm sure it'll be a lot warmer tomorrow evening.
Good call. 2-1 to AJ. And he belts it into right center field. Maxwell smothers it, tackles it, it rolls away. Colementor will score. They'll stop Inciarte at third. And Pollock has an RBI double. 8-0 Diamondbacks. That's the 4th hit tonight for AJ.
You love to see the opposite field approach that we've seen tonight from some of the Diamondbacks hitters. That's not a bad pitch. Outside corner, knee high, but AJ stayed right on it, drove it into that gap in right center. It didn't look very pretty, but that's actually a pretty decent play by Maxwell to keep that ball from rolling all the way to the warning track out there in right center. Just got a piece of it and slowed it down for Blanco in center field to come over and make the play.
Jordan Pacheco, who checked into the game for Goldie at first, is in there now. Jordan 2 for 10 at the plate to open up the year. He struck out and hit into a double play in his first start of the season. That was Wednesday in San Diego when he was behind the plate. Tough he had tonight on. Diamondbacks have opened up this 9th inning with 3 straight hits. Save some for the weekend.
Take them where they fall. It's just good to get some offense going against Petit, a guy that's been tough on the Diamondbacks the last couple of years. Maybe they figured something out against a big right-hander.
There's a strike, 2-1. Well, Yasmero Petit. Last year he made 12 starts. He's kind of their version of Josh Colementor. You know, bullpen rotation back and forth. But 12 starts. His ERA last year was over 5, but his ERA when he was a relief pitcher in 27 appearances was 1.84. That's quite a contrast. Came in and got 2 strikeouts in that 8th inning. But 3 base hits here to start the night. That's inside on Pacheco, and it's 3-1. Peralta on deck. Jordan took that one. I think he thought he missed it. But Chris Siegel says, no, you're right. Go ahead. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. This was a strike earlier in the ball game, I think.
At bottom of the zone, it's been kind of inconsistent. Jordan took 1 step out of the box. Said, wait a minute.
That can't be right. He's on board. Bases loaded. No outs for Peralta. David's got 3 hits. He's in fact got base hits in his previous 3 at bats, 2 of them doubles. Inciarte is the runner at third. AJ Pollock at second, and Jordan Pacheco down there at first with Dave McKay. Peralta singled and scored in the 5th, an RBI double in the 6th, and he doubled in the 8th. Now, this is a good night for David. He came into tonight 4 for 21 to start the year. And that 3-run homer, which was off Ryan Vogelsong in the second game of the season, had been David's only extra base hit this season, but he's got 2 doubles tonight. A ball and a strike. Reaches down and sends it out to left. It backs up Aoki with his back to the warning track. Inciarte will tag, and it's 9-0. The D-backs have scored 9 times, and Yasmani Tomas is coming up. Second RBI tonight for Peralta. Here comes Tomas. He will hit for Jake Lamb. Yasmani Tomas 0 for 2, a pair of pinch hit appearances so far to begin his big league career. He tapped back to the mound in the 11th inning last night. Grounded out in his first big league at bat Wednesday at Petco Park. First pitch swinging, and he pops it up very shallow center. Blanco coming in. And that's the second out. Tuffy Gozowish. 18 hits, the most hits allowed by the Giants. And since last September 13th, the Dodgers had 24 hits. They beat them here 17-0. Ouch, big.
That's a tough day.
And that man has only given up 3 hits and none since the 3rd inning. And making a bid for his second career shutout and second career complete game. There's strike 1 to Tuffy. Tuffy had an RBI single in the 5th. He's 1 for 5. He's the king of the 1 for Tuffy. Including tonight. Tuffy has started 9 of the Diamondbacks' 11 games behind the plate, and he's reached base safely in all 9 of those starts. 7 times with base hits. Yes, he went, and there's the strikeout. And that ends the inning. Josh Colemenser 3 outs away from a shutout, and he's got a 9-0 lead. Colemenser, his first career complete game and first career shutout, and he faced the minimum 27 Cincinnati Reds. He had 3 double play balls behind him, and here tonight in San Francisco, he's bidding for shutout number 2. That was May 29th last year at Chase Field. 3 hits, shutout, 5 strikeouts. He's got only 1 strikeout tonight. He has retired the last 13 Giants he's faced, and now he's 3 outs away with Yasmani Tomas remaining in the game to play first base. Jordan Pacheco, who came in for Goldie, moves over to third. And Aoki pulls that one foul. Mark Reed, the bullpen catcher, he's been this for Reeder, it's like a night off. He was busy all night last night warming up pitchers, but down there with his feet up. A well-earned rest. Tomas right to him. He takes it himself. Sure enough, first one finds him, BB.
Yeah, come into a ball game cold. They're going to hit something right at you. Nice play by Tomas. Went down to a knee to make sure it didn't get through. And then following the lead of Paul Goldschmidt, just takes it himself. Don't risk a throw.
Here comes Panic. Well, you never know. Pitch count is at 104 through 8 1/3. There's the strike. Panic has the last Giant hit. A 2-out single in the 3rd. Their last base runner was a 1-out walk to McGee in the 4th. That's a base hit. Peralta in the corner to cut it off, and Panic is in at second with a 1-out double. That ends the streak of 14 straight retired by Colementer.
I think Chip's going to give Josh every opportunity to finish out this ball game. We had Randy Johnson in the booth last night. He'd be the first one to tell you the pitch count doesn't really matter on a night like this. He's been cruising. He has not been in any trouble since the 3rd inning. Been hitting his spots all night long. His defense has made a few nice plays behind him. It's not like he's had to pitch out at jams all night long. He's been cruising.
I'll say Panic here with 1 out in the 9th is the first Giant to reach second base tonight. And here's Justin Maxwell. There's the strike on 1. Maxwell 4 for 17, 1 extra base hit to start the year. He struck out in a pinch hit appearance in the 11th inning last night. And remember that they took Buster Posey out of the game, so Sanchez is in the on-deck circle behind Maxwell. One and 2. Got him. Just the 2nd strikeout tonight for Colementer. 2 down in the 9th.
Well, whatever he's got left in the tank, he's going to leave it on the field tonight. Fastball right by Maxwell for his 2nd punch out of the game.
And so it's Hector Sanchez, the backup catcher, last man standing. He is 3 for 22 at the plate to start the year. Hitless in his last 16 at bats, and he looks at strike 1. Sanchez struck out in a pinch hit appearance last night. Oh, and 2. Finish this one off in style right here. From Homer, Michigan. Diamondbacks 15th round pick back in 07 out of Central Michigan. The 0-2 to Sanchez. Colementer, when he was in high school in Homer, threw 13 shutouts. As a senior, he was 10-0. And now as a big leaguer looking for career shutout number 2. Broken bat, popped him up. Who wants it? Ball game. Nick Ahmed has it, and Josh Colementer has his 2nd career shutout and 2nd career complete game. And one night after the Diamondbacks had to use every relief pitcher they had, and Colementor was actually warming up in the bullpen, he comes out here and throws a shutout at the Giants.
Boy, this is one of those performances that over the course of a long season will kind of get lost in the shuffle. But given all the circumstances leading up to this start tonight, Josh Colementor could not have done any more. Also had 3 base hits, for crying out loud.
And an RBI, and he scored a run. The Diamondbacks out-hit the Giants 18-4. They win it 9-0. And Josh Colementor has his 2nd career shutout in the books. We'll have all the reaction when we come back. The Diamondback Live postgame show is right after this. Josh Colementor shuts out the Giants. D-backs win it 9-0.